Hey everybody. So I know that it has been a long time since I've done a video. Unfortunately, my job just keeps me super busy. But I wanted to share this little sneak peek into the junk journal that I finally just finished putting together, so that I can finally start putting everything that I've been collecting over, probably the past couple of years since I fell in love with junk journaling, into the book. Now, last night I was up till probably like 3:30 in the morning because I was so excited to get it done. So I want to give you just a little peek at the cover, which you can already see, obviously, but also to the pages on the inside and how it's just kind of bare minimum right now, with some coffee stained papers and that kind of thing, which is kind of like the base for a junk journal. I am currently trying to reset up my overhead camera so that I can, in the future get better shots as I'm doing some junk journaling processes. But I just wanted to give you guys again like a sneak peek of what's going to be coming up with my new junk journaling process. So this is the cover that I did probably a couple years ago and have just been using it as like decoration in my craft room, and I absolutely love it. It was something I tried out. It's an old book, Tom Wolfe. I cannot remember what the book was, but I just loved the cover and I wanted to keep the author's name on the spine because I just loved how it came out. But the book cover was done with some gesso and tissue paper and just paints and different, the metal corner embellishments. The main thing I wanted to show you is the butterfly. I did this with just something I was trying out. Again, I took wax paper and drew out a butterfly actually on a regular piece of paper and then put it underneath of the wax paper. And then I took my hot glue gun and traced the butterfly design onto the wax paper with my glue gun. And then, of course, I obviously painted it. But I wanted to get something with this really cool texture without actually doing it on the book in case I messed up. So the wax paper was a great way to do that. And then if I liked it, I could cut out the design and apply it to my book at that point. And then, of course, do, your shading and shadowing and stuff to make it look like it's part of the book page. So let me see if I can get you a little closer here so you can see the texture. I mean, the wax paper kind of crinkled up as I was painting it and gluing it on. And so, like, the texture is just absolutely stunning, I believe. Anybody who is into artsy stuff, and I mean, texture is just, the texture on this is just awesome. You can see a lot of it. The roses that are on the edge here are just kind of abstractly hand painted by yours truly. And the butterfly just turned out amazing. And again, on the spine here, I took a little filigree piece and just added it to the center part of the body. And then some ribbons for me to be able to tie off the book, along with an old button, which I believe was part of a collection I got that was my grandmother's button. So it's probably older. I could be mistaken, but I usually pull from my old buttons. So anyways, I don't want to take too long on the outside, but I left it untied because I'm doing this one-handed. But the inside, like I said, I have started to decorate it, and I have 4 signatures in here, and each signature does have a really cool, nice scrapbook piece of paper as its cover. I did do a little bit of sewing on some of the pages. And I did start adding some ephemera in here that I actually created, like I said, within the past 2 years. And I just haven't had anywhere to put it because I never finished my junk journal. So I'm so excited that I finally got my junk journal done so I can start adding in pieces and start creating, scrapbooked memories, what these pieces mean to me. Some are just really cool things that I've, found along the way just randomly, and I just liked them and they were vintage, so I held on to them. So the first one here, this is a pocket I created with, it's actually an envelope that was a junk piece of envelope, a junk mail. And of course the back side is still probably looks like junk mail, but I did scrapbook collaging scrapbook paper collaging on the front, and then of course tabbed it so that it was a pocket. This little piece right here is actually a bunch of little tags that we created when we did my mother's 60th surprise birthday party, and we did a board that said 60 reasons why we love you. And a lot of people came and a lot of people filled them out, but we had a lot of these left over, so I was like, these are perfect little tags. I mean, it was perfect because we did like a vintage theme for her party, because, you know, she's kind of considered vintage now and beautiful. But we had so many of these left over, and I discovered them as I was going through some old stuff last night, and I am so excited how cute that looks tucked in here. And I actually am going to be incorporating these throughout just a few more times. This piece right here is just a little journaling thing that I made out of a sticker when I did in 2017, I believe. Yes, 2017. I signed up for the first time for NaNoWriMo, which is National Novel Writing Month. Some of you might know that a few years ago in 2015, I started writing a book. Now, totally a hobby thing for me, and I still am writing it to this day. I absolutely love the process of writing. It's a little frustrating, but anyways, I won't get too off track. But this is a sticker that I received when I signed up, and so I wanted to journal about that, because I never really did. But I mean, my memories are still there, and I can still, you know, journal about that later. But anyways, I just want to flip through some of these pages. Some of these pages, like this paper right here, was 9 by 12 that I got actually at the Dollar Tree, and it tea stained or coffee dyed really, really well, and it feels really cool and has cool crinkle. But I have found out it does not take sewing well. It's just, it rips too easy. But I mean, when you're doing vintage and that kind of thing, all of the little flaws and imperfections are what makes, you know, a junk journal so great. And then of course I just did a little punch on the edge. This gift bag right here, this little paper bag, was from when my mom and I went to Brown County in, oh my goodness, I'm totally blanking. I'll think of it here in a second. But anyways, Brown County, you probably know of Brown County, and it's just a great town full of little shops, and it is just, it's such a fun weekend to go and just walk the shops. And springtime and fall time is my mom and I's favorite time to go. But we visited this new shop called Mulberry, oh, I forget what it's called. Mulberry something. The other part of it's back here. But I just loved the bag so much that I wanted to incorporate it into my journal. And then this page here, I did a lot of these a few summers ago with my niece Bailey, who also loves books and journals and writing. And we sat down and we were going to make journals, which we never actually finished, but we did get a lot of the pages burned. And so I wanted to incorporate those so that I can just, you know, one of those things to remember that summer with her. This here is actually just a printed off the internet. It is the music for the Harry Potter theme song, and so it's actually going into a set of Harry Potter books that I am creating, but this one I just wanted to incorporate in because I just, you know, it doesn't actually say Harry Potter on it, but I know that that's what that is. So again, just more coffee stain papers and burn papers. This is another little gift bag from somewhere, I can't remember, leftover lace I made into a tag or a tab. This here so far is becoming my favorite page, even though I haven't done many. But if you can guess what this is, now you can probably tell. But this is a like mini or small McDonald's French fry like cup. And I just thought that the yellow lines inside would be so cute, and I love pink, and I love pink and yellow together. So I got really inspired to create this little pocket with the McDonald's thing, and I just love it. It's so cute, and I just taped it on the back side here and here, so it is a tuck spot and a pocket. And then of course, this is a playing card that I Mod Podged some napkin over, and then I put some scrapbook paper on the back so I could journal. And then this is a mini envelope. I created a bunch of these in the past, and I wanted to incorporate some of them into this journal too. And then I just decoupaged some scrap paper on the back side of this to give this layered effect. So this is actually one page, but this is decoupage on the edge, and then you have the fire burn paper. So like that texturing, oh God, I just love it. Just love it. So just more of these. I have a lot of these as the base. Oh, here we go. So Cottage, Mulberry Cottage is the name of that shop, and it's the cutest little shop, and they gave me the cutest bag. I just loved it. There's not a whole lot else in here, except there's a few bags like this. My mom is a flight attendant, and so she travels everywhere, and sometimes she travels on her off time to places that she can't go when she's working, because she doesn't really fly internationally except for Mexico and Canada. But these little bags here, this one's from China. Actually, I'm not really sure exactly where she got that, because I don't think she's been to China. So maybe my boyfriend got that for me, because he went to China with a school trip when he was doing his MBA, and I still have some things from that trip that he gave me. And unfortunately, I cannot remember what this one is from, but of course I just wanted to incorporate it. And then here I did a tip in, which is where you just kind of tape something in and make a flip out of it. Made some journaling area here. But this was an old book jacket from a book that I wasn't going to use for anything else. So I decoupaged on it and painted and tissue papered, and it just turned out so cool. And I wanted to actually use that. So that's what that is. And it's really thick and has really cool texture. I'm sure you can see some of it and hear it. And I know that all book and journal lovers like me love the feel and the sound of crinkly paper. Here is another paper that my mom got for me on one of her trips. She actually she didn't buy anything, but she went into the store, or she was in the store, and she saw the paper, and she knew that I loved different kinds of paper. So this was just something that she just asked for them to give me, and it was a really big sheet, and I just cut it down and added it into some of my signatures. This is a page that I ripped, so I just sewed it. It actually was very, it worked very well. Okay, I don't want to go too much longer with the video, but I definitely wanted to share with you guys. So let's see. This is when my mom went to Portugal. And she got me some other little things, and I kept the bag. I just thought that was just so cute. Like, look at the design on that. They have such cool, you know, every country and culture has just such different vibes and styles, and I love to incorporate that into, well, I've always wanted to incorporate into a junk journal, which I never got finished until last night, so I'm just so excited. I can't even stand it. So I don't think I've done much in this signature. There's the other thing. So that's pretty much it on the book. I will be doing some journaling processes in the future. I did do a hidden spine, so of course I took a piece of cardboard and then put this, this is actually from a gift bag, this purple flowery paper, and taped or glued it over top of the cardboard, and then I did my holes and sewed my signatures in, and then I glued down this, so I had a nice finished edge. I did do some sewing on it before I glued it down, and so that way you don't see your signatures sewn on your book spine. And of course with this book I didn't want to ruin, you know, the spine, so I had to do a hidden spine. I don't have a tutorial on that, but there's tutorials everywhere, and I honestly cannot remember which one I watched, and it's actually a very simple process. It's the same thing as sewing it onto your spine. You're just doing it on something portable basically and then gluing it in. So check that out if you're curious. But I did want to share really quickly with you also some of the ephemera that I have created over, sorry for the camera, that I have created over the past couple years with the expectations of one day putting it into a junk journal. So I have some bits of stuff here that I want to add in. This is from a project that I did with my, I can't even remember now, to be honest. Is this part of my grandmother's wedding dress? Anyways, I don't know if it has special meaning or not. I'll have to try to remember. This fabric I did incorporate in because I've got like the pinks and purples going on, of course. I'm incorporating other colors as well. But this fabric was from the quilt that I did for my niece, Bailey. Hello, Bailey. That I wanted to incorporate in to just remember, you know, that wonderful memory. She has been using it for years. It is definitely well loved and worn out. So some other little things is like some ribbon. This was from a project I did, but it's not got any special meaning other than I just think I like tea dyed this. It used to be a lot whiter. Just some satin ribbon. This is actually really cool. But there is something called freezer paper, and it's paper on one side, wax on the other, and you can print on it and then turn it over and rub it onto like wood or paper or anything and get this really cool effect. Well, this is what was left over after I scrubbed it off. And this was actually an oopsie because you have to print it, especially if there's words, you have to print it mirror image so that when you put it down and rub it on, then it's the right way. So this was actually I had left over, and I wanted to use it in my junk journal because, I mean, how adorable is that? And let me show you the project that I did it on. Say hi, Gunner. But right here, I have a new tea station, and I had this cute shelf that I got at my place of work, Hobby Lobby, of course. And this was the rub-on that I did. And unfortunately, the like tea time, like if you know it's there, you can see it, but it's a little light. And so I want to kind of somehow get that a little darker, without it looking like I went back and painted it on. But anyways, I loved the like vintage, you know, rough, distressed look that it gave. It came out just so perfect. But I wanted to use, here's my coffee station, by the way, coffee and tea at your service. Okay, hope you guys aren't getting too dizzy, I'm sorry. So anyways, that's what that's from, and I wanted to use that in my journal. Some more of the laces. There's another one of those tags and one of the McDonald's pieces of ephemera. This time I put like a little plastic or acrylic flower on there. This is just a scrap piece of paper. And I tried to do a ruffle without using my ruffler on my sewing machine. And it didn't come out great, but I actually love how it looks. Again, love those imperfections. That's what makes it different and unique. If you do everything so perfectly, it's just not fun. So this is from Brown County as well. If you go there, they have their own winery, the Brown County Winery. And they have an apple wine, which is amazing all by itself. But then if you warm it up and add this mulling spice, it makes it like an apple cider. And it is just so darn good. And I just thought the little tea packet, it's kind of, it comes in like a little tea packet. Looks like a tea packet. And I just think that is just the cutest little, I have a few of these. And so I sewed the edges because they're really, they come apart real easily. So I did sew it to keep it together. And I'm going to use that for probably a little like hiding, you know, pocket for some journaling about, you know, Brown County or just talking about the apple wine. I'm not really sure. I'll probably put the like recipe in there or something. But that's what's so great about these junk journals. You can turn anything into anything and then, you know, document memories. It's just awesome. So here is another, this was just a like piece of cardstock that I coffee dyed and then did some decoupaging on top with some napkin and other things. And the texture on this is just super cool. You can see a little bit there. It's just really cool. So I'll use that as a journaling card. Some more scrap paper. I did some sewing on my machine last night with some different things. So that's sewn on there. What was the other one? Oh, okay. So I had scrap papers left over from when I did my signature covers. And so then I took those strips of paper and turned them into little coin envelopes that I'll use for pockets later. And then of course I cut the corners, did a die cut or a punch, and looks super cute. I did a few of those. This is something I want to incorporate. I actually made a cross, and I cut the cross out to this size, but then I realized for what I was doing it for in the original project, it was too large. So then I did, I cut it out smaller and kept the border. So I will use the border on something. I just think that's super cute. Don't throw anything away, guys. I mean, really. You can turn anything into anything. These are book pages. I actually glued like 2 sheets together to make it a little thicker, and then made these like little banners and then sewed them together. Actually, I think they were glued originally, and then I just did some sewing. Let's see. I think that's about it. This was an envelope I got from, I think, my best friend. You can see she mailed it to me. And I just did some decoupaging and Mod Podging and gessoing and all that on top. And I will probably tip that into the journal as well. Gosh, there's so many things, guys. Here's a few more. Here's a few more of these. See, it's junk mail. But on the other side, I did like 2 pieces of scrap paper, ripped down the center. And I just love them. I mean, and it was just so easy to do. I mean, just super easy. And that was using scraps of journaling paper or scraps of scrapbook paper and junk mail. And then this is the other piece of that book cover that I told you I decoupaged on and everything. I did not finish all of it. So this is the rest of it. I'll probably finish it up and tip it in as well. But it is started for sure. And I just used like, I mean, this even had just like splatters of like from another project. Excuse me. But I mean, when you're decoupaging and doing different things, like this kind of stuff just adds to the texture and the different like levels, of just visual pleasure when you're looking and feeling these kinds of junk journals. Anyways, this video went a little longer than I planned to, but I'm so darn excited to start doing some journaling in this finally. So when I want, you know, when I have a piece of, oh, there's that fabric. When I have a memory that I want to document, I finally have a place to put it, as opposed to just sticking it in a spot that sometimes they get lost and I find them years later. But now I have a spot to actually put them in. So I'm super excited. But like, look at all of the, I mean, that's just, oh my goodness. The layers are just, there's just so much loveliness so far in this journal. I'm so excited to actually finally be putting this book cover to use that I made like 2 years ago. And of course I've been, you know, visually looking at it, you know, on my shelf in my craft room, which is, you know, visually pleasing to me. But I actually wanted it to be something of use to me, and now it is. So I'm so excited. But I hope you guys enjoyed what I had to show you, and look forward to the videos in the future of me actually doing some junk journal processes, which are really fun for me to watch. And so hopefully you will join in as well. So until then, have a great and lovely day, and I will see you soon.